beautiful soul, and welcome back to my mystical online family. My name is Samantha if you've never met me before, and today, as you can see behind me, I have been to my local crystal show, so I have lots of things to show you, but I also have been thrifting. I'm wanting to change the style of my home. I'm really inspired by Whimsigoth, that sort of practical magic crossed with charms, celestial vintage, a little bit of gothic Victorian, and of course a sprinkle of 70s 60s mushroom psychedelic vibes. So some of the pieces that I have today are definitely for my Whimsigoth inspired home, and as I redecorate I'm definitely going to film it and share that process with you, so make sure you subscribe if you want to stay along for the process. In general, I would just love to have you here as a part of my little online family. So let's start off with the crystals. I want to show you all of these amazing clear quartz clusters that I was able to get. Each one is really unique. This clear quartz is super shiny. I love how solid and powerful this one feels. This is probably my favorite one because all of the crystal points are growing inwards towards the center. It feels like all the energies are converging together in the center. And there's also little points that are kind of growing out the side. It's got iron through it and also some mica on the back here. And I can't wait to see whoever buys it and how they work with it, if you also feel the same way. Now this piece I'm keeping for myself. This is a cluster of smoky quartz from the Northern Territory in the Harts range, and I met the man who fossicked this. I've been going and fossicking for 50 years. It was so lovely to know that this was literally in the earth in Australia. He found it, he collected it, and now I get to have a piece of it in my home, and I really treasure that I get to have this special piece forever in my home. Smoky quartz is probably one of my favorite crystals, and I bought myself a bit of a present. So if you've been following the channel for a while, a couple of years ago I filmed a video on the gem fair and I bought myself this turquoise ring. Now the vendor came back this year and I bought myself this ring. It is a double terminated smoky quartz. The crystal itself is from Victoria. His friend fossicked it, and I literally fell in love as soon as I saw this ring, because this ring is probably my favorite jewelry piece I've ever had. So to have another piece from the same jeweler was very exciting, and I think you will always find it on my finger. Another piece of smoky quartz I got was this big chunk. It's almost a point. It's quite frosted and raw and rough on the outside, and there's just this big chunk. Look how dark this bit of quartz is through here. Now this is a piece that I'm really forcing myself to put on the website and not to keep myself. It is an agate geode that's all beautiful and polished, but it has a big vein of quartz. It's so beautiful, and it literally reminds me of a river, and I love that it just stands up on its own as well. Ugh, I must put it on my website. I must not keep it. I'm gonna end up keeping everything, I swear. Now this is what I was holding at the beginning of the video. They are quartz chunks. They are massive, and sometimes you can get them to stand this way, but if not, they sort of sit this way. I really do think I'm gonna keep one of these. They're so beautiful. They're so heavy and grounding. Rose quartz really is one of my favorite crystals. You're gonna get the gist of that when you see how much I purchased for my website. And so I also wanted to buy some smaller size chunks of rose quartz. So these are all gonna go on my website. They're beautiful. Again, just that little bit smaller. Perfect to have at the center of a self-love or healing grid for the heart space, the inner child, on your altar for healing. I just think that this is such a beautiful crystal. And then to make it even easier, I got even smaller pieces. So these are small little chunks of rose quartz, perfect to put in a macrame necklace piece to actually wear on your body. I got these little clear quartz points, and they're so beautiful because they're hand fossicked throughout Australia, through Queensland and the Northern Territory. A lot of them have Lemurian marks, but some of them are so shiny, they almost have like a druzy finish on them. But I just love that they've got iron marks, and they're so raw. They really are such a little piece of Australia. The last crystals that I bought for my website from the crystal show are these gorgeous little yoni agates. So each one is polished and I handpicked them all because I felt they would be perfect to work with when you're doing womb work. Each one has a little portal. Like this one has a little clear quartz flower in the center. And this one even has a tiny little pocket of druzy right in the very center of the agate. I just felt these would be such a perfect little thing to wear. It's very discreet, but very empowering at the same time. All right, so now I want to show you what I got from the thrift shop to get my Whimsigoth inspired home started. Firstly, the piece that inspired it all is this stained glass purple candle holder. Got this vintage Italian silk. I buy these for the frame because they're made of metal. This is a lot smaller than the other ones that I have, which is perfect because you don't want to have a whole wall filled with the exact same size frame. So I'll take out the vintage silk and I'll probably place one of my embroideries on here as a display, but this was only $4. How amazing. These were obviously donated by the same person because there was these tiny little Italian silks. There obviously was more hanging in a row, probably 4 I would say, because there's little hooks down here. So again, I'll probably put a picture or some of my embroideries in here as well. But how perfect, and they're made of metal and they were also $4. I also got this doormat and it's just perfect for adding a little bit of color into my home. And it's now turned into Bear's favorite little spot to sleep. I found this witchy skirt, which I absolutely love. It makes me feel like I'm best friends with Stevie Nicks and I'm frolicking around a field underneath the full moon with her. One of my favorite things I found at the thrift shop is this hat. It is so perfect. It fits absolutely perfectly on my head and it's just so witchy. Now this one might seem a bit strange, but I bought this nostalgic 90s sheet and it's got stars and moons all over it, and I'm actually going to turn it into a dress. Fingers crossed. I'm practicing my sewing and yeah, you might just have to follow along a future vlog to see how it turns out. Now I also found this material from the op shop, purple and blue. It's for my embroidery because I want to do some pieces for the Whimsigoth inspired home, but also for my website because I love embroidery and I love selling it on my website. So make sure you check those out. Follow me on Instagram because that's obviously where I'm going to be showing the pieces as I create them. If you want to practice your needlework or any type of fabric craft like patchwork and sewing, go to your local thrift shop and buy yourself some secondhand sheets. You could be spending hundreds of dollars in fabric at your local fabric shop. I know Spotlight in Australia is so expensive, and I think it's really sustainable to be using secondhand fabric from the op shop. And plus, if you are spending $4 on a massive big, sheet and cutting it up and practicing sewing or whatever it is, you're not going to stress out if you make a mistake. It's so much better to practice for. So yeah, just a little tip. Okay, so you know that we're pals when I'm recording in my sacred space at nighttime in my literal pajamas. Can you see the fairy? I was editing this video here and I didn't like the exit and how I ended the video, and so I was like, you know what, we're friends, everyone on my channel, we're besties. I can just candidly say hello with no previous planning. In last year's video I also mentioned how I don't love the idea of being a crystal shop and having all of these crystals. I specifically love going to my local gem fair every year because a lot of these things are hand fossicked. They're not mass produced in big mines. They're not like blown up out of the side of a mine. It's like little seniors that go out and are fossicking in riverbeds and find these beautiful little crystals. So that's why I personally choose to go to the gem fairs and to know that I'm having a piece of my country, in my hands, and also then being able to share that with the world as well is really special. I also wanted to show you, I wasn't joking when I said I collect sheets and different things, like different bits of material. I have a whole bag here filled with stuff, and the nostalgic print dress that I'm sewing at the moment. I've kind of cut it off. I don't know if it's going to be a dress or a skirt, but I digress. I've got some little like doilies in purple and the yellow to kind of match it for pockets, and oh, I'm getting all creative. So yeah, I just really wanted to tell you to go out to the thrift shop, because sometimes there's so many magical little gems and finds, so unique because it's not mass produced. You just really have to have an eye for it. I really feel like we're spoon fed with our eyes. Consumerism, when you go to a shop, have visual merchandisers whose whole job is to curate a display so it's super aesthetically pleasing to our eye and we know what to purchase. But when you go to an op shop, it's just all jammed together. It's all unique, one-of-a-kind stuff. So you really have to slow down, be really present, and like search through all of the little knickknacks, and I just find it so grounding. I really don't need to buy a lot of stuff, but I just find going there just such a like calming, beautiful little outing for myself. And I wanted to kind of finalize this video by showing you a little collection of some of the things for my home decor upstairs, which I think that you will love, and you'll kind of start getting the vibe of yeah, what I want to do upstairs. These are just some of the little unique things I've been collecting to put in my new home decor, just so you're starting to get the vibe, you know. Okay besties, so thank you so much for watching this video. Thanks for hanging out with me in my studio while I'm editing this video. And remember, you can always go and check out my online community and join my Patreon. So everything is linked down below: my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all the things. And I'll see you in the next video. Sending you many blessings. Bye. Thanks for hanging out with me too, by the way. I appreciate it.